All right, welcome to the channel. This is my 2015 Mustang GT. I've had it for about 6 years now. I'm the original owner. I'm just gonna go over a few things that I've had problems with. Messing with the phone. There it is, one piece. Most recently, it's only let me down one time, and I just wanted to cover this in the video. You can almost use it as like a maintenance item that I think that you should do. A lot of people haven't talked about this so much, but if you're new to the 2015 S550 chassis, there's a problem that you should probably address. So let's talk about that. Okay, like I said, 2015 Mustang GT. This is the Performance Pack Premium. These only came with manual. It's got the Brembo brakes and a little different suspension and the 373 gear and all that type of stuff. So this car has 38,000, about 700, almost 39,000 miles on it. I've tried to keep it in good condition. It stays in the garage, and I live in Los Angeles. I drive it in the city a lot. So there's one problem with this car, and it's only left me stranded one time. But basically what it is I'll just cut to the chase, is the water pump let loose on me at about 35,000 miles. They didn't do a TSB on the water pump, but they should have, because these cars, the water pump goes bad. I was literally just driving. Okay, so what I was saying was that the water pump on these cars goes bad. So maybe it, like, if you look on the forums, I looked it up, a lot of guys are having them fail at like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. So it's actually a really easy part to replace. It's like 4 bolts. That's kind of the running joke. Everything on a car is only 3 or 4 bolts to fix, right? And then, you know, it takes like 6 hours, and you bust your knuckles and you break a bolt and all that stuff. But so you can order the water pump from Levittown Ford, and you can get it. It's really cheap. It's like 50 or 75 bucks for a water pump. So what happened to mine, I'll try to find the videos. It's got a plastic impeller inside that spins. It's just a pump. It's just a mechanical, it's a, you know, it's a pulley, it has a pulley shaft and a plastic impeller blade that spins inside. And what happened on mine was about 2 weeks before the water pump failed, I started to hear a little bit of something that sounded like the throwout bearing on the clutch was going bad. If you've ever heard a throwout bearing that sounds kind of squeaky or makes a little wobbly squeaky noise, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like the throwout bearing. I was like, dang, the throwout bearing already? This car's only got like 40,000 miles on it, right? It was actually the water pump was letting loose. That plastic piece was probably rubbing the aluminum, right? So I was driving, I started to smell coolant, and I was like, that's not, someone's burning coolant. It was me. I had no idea. I pulled up to the location I was at. I was training someone at the park, and all of a sudden steam started coming out from under the hood. I popped the hood. Sure enough, I was just leaking coolant. So what I did was I pulled up, I had a buddy follow me, and I just drove a mile apart, put on the water temperature gauge, made sure the car didn't get hot, and I limped it home, and I bought a water pump, put the water pump on. It's not actually that hard to put on. The hardest part was it has to fit into the block, and it's aluminum, and the block is aluminum. So, you know, if it's square and you get one side, you know, wonky jawed, or whatever kind of weird word you want to use, that crooked, and it's uneven when you put it in there, then it's really hard. It won't seat properly, right? So you have to slide it in very evenly. And then what happened was, as I was tightening the bolts down, I thought that one of the studs was straight. It's so frustrating because you get it in crooked, and then as you're tightening them down, you try to tighten them opposites, like, you know, so you don't tighten down one side and it gets in. You'll never get it in that way. You want to tap it in just a little, right? And then just slowly screw them in on opposite sides so it evenly recesses into the block like that. And I thought I was going to strip, and then it just popped in. Put the other thing that I did is I broke one of the nipples on the air intake hose because I was in a hurry. Those plastic Ford clips that come on and they have a little like this guy right there, and then it pops on and holds it. and you take like a small flathead and you open this side and open this side, and this thing opens up and you can pull it off and you can slide it out like that. I broke one of those, and I just bought some black JB Weld type material, and took about 15 minutes to fix that. So you can also get the GT350, I believe is what they call it, upgraded water pump. It was like $225 compared to $70, and I figured this is a stock motor. There's no reason to have, it's already got the performance pack radiator. There's no really, I'm not tracking it, so I didn't see really any advantage. It keeps the factory water pump, keeps the motor cool fine. Now maybe there is a new water pump that you're buying is different than the water pump that came on the cars, because there is, I can't remember exactly if the part number was a little bit different or if it's a Ford Performance part, something like that. But anyways, it's 50 to 75 bucks. I actually recommend you guys changing that. You know, if you've got 50,000 miles on your 2015 to 2017, now I don't know if they changed the water pumps for 2018. I'm assuming that they did, but if you've got a 6-year-old car with 30,000 miles, so this one has about 40,000 almost, it's got 39,000 about. My water pump went out at about 35,000 miles when the car's about 6 years old. So I recommend changing the water pump at like 5 years old, 30,000 miles. I would just change it, and just, if you've, all right, got the 4 bolts out, even the hard one. How hard do you think this will be to get off the block? I haven't pulled on it yet. Actually, it seems like it's gonna come off all right, surprisingly. Okay, cool. To be continued. Probably take 3 hours at this rate. We'll see. We'll just keep plugging away. Holy moly. Got the dude off. This is why it wasn't pumping water. All right. This is what it's supposed to look like on the inside. Not supposed to look like. I was completely wrong. They're not. Well, they technically are in the cooling system. Look at this. This is bizarre. Look at that. Would you look at that? It's just sitting in there. Let's try to grab it while keeping the light, while not messing with the phone too much. Oh my gosh. There it is. One piece. Okay. Not too terrible. And it's plastic, so it's not gonna wear out the block. I think what happens is this bearing right here, so it's supposed to spin like this, smooth. I think this bearing gets a bit wobbly. It's supposed to look like. Can you tell the difference by chance? Holy crap. So all those bits are in the cooling system. Good luck. You got 50,000 or 75,000 and you haven't had your water pump go bad, maybe you're lucky. I'm not sure, but I would not want the water pump to go out on me driving, because then you're stuck. You're completely stranded. You can't drive the car because it overheats way too fast. So it's not like I've had another issue with this car. So that was the main thing that just kept the car undrivable. Now, the other thing that recently happened that it corrected itself was all the traction control lights came on, and then the car would kind of stutter and buck for like the first minute driving it when it was cold, and you had to really baby it. It was almost like a stutter. And what it was something to do with the traction control. I believe it was the ABS sensors on the wheels. It's just a little sensor like this. You can get them from Rock Auto for 15 bucks or from Ford for 25 or 27 bucks from Levittown Ford. You guys know that you can get any Ford Performance part from Levittown Ford for much cheaper than a lot of the other places. So just a heads up, check out them first. So the bucking from the ABS sensor, that happened, and I ordered new ABS sensors and I was about to put them on. And then last weekend, I went basically driving around, you know, at speed, like kind of fast, and it must have knocked the brake dust off the sensors or something. The car's fine now. All the lights went off. It corrected itself. So that happens sometimes. The other thing that kind of self-corrected itself as well was the rear, but it's broken again. The rear backup camera went bad. So those are the three main things. It was the water pump, the ABS sensors, but now it could go bad. It didn't keep the car from driving. It's just the first minute or so, it kind of did have like a rough, a stutter, right? But then after the car warmed up, but there was no drive modes, okay? So that's annoying. The other thing was the backup camera went out, and I've heard that it's just a wire that's either it's messed up. The wire got smushed or cut in half or something. It might be pinching or something in the wiring. It's not the actual camera. So I should probably take that apart and then look at the wiring and see if there's something I can just fix on my own real quick. Just put the wire, reconnect it, or put the wires, just check it out before you go order like a new camera. Because I don't think it's the camera. I think it's in the wiring or in the harness. So those are the three things. I mean, I've still got the factory brake pads on the front. They started making a little noise, and I kept listening, and after I drove it hard, the noise went away. And you know that there's a TSB for the performance pack, like front right, you know, passenger front rotor brake pad situation, and I never had that changed. So this has almost 39,000 miles. It still has the factory brakes. I've changed the front tires once, the back tires twice, and other than that, I'm just now starting to like the car. Man, I had the hardest time with this car because I expected it to be like just a crazy torque monster. And I'm just, if you want it to feel good, you know, if you live in the city, streetlight to streetlight, and you don't have the 10-speed automatic, and you've got the manual, it's not going to feel like crazy. It's not going to feel like a supercar, obviously, unless you supercharge it. So, but once you get out into the canyons or any type of curvy roads, it actually feels better because you can go up in the RPMs past, you know, 3,500. So anyways, those are just a few things. I would definitely recommend changing the water pump. It's about 75 bucks, and it takes you maybe 2 hours max. I could probably change it in 45 minutes or 30 minutes now that I've done it once. But you essentially just take the air intake tube off, take the belt off, and then you take the pulley off, and then you can take the 3 or 4 bolts off the water pump, I believe it's 4, and pull that dude straight out and just pop the new one on, and it's pretty simple. So just I recommend changing that as a maintenance thing. It only takes a couple hours, and it's 75 bucks. So if you're new to the channel, we do Mustang automotive news and some stuff on my own projects. I've got the 2015 Mustang, a Toyota Sequoia that I've playing around with, and do dirt bike stuff. 2021 XCW 300 KTM and a KDX 200. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Let me know in the comment section if you've actually had your water pump fail, and I would kind of like to make a poll and see how many people have had their water pump fail. Say that 3 times fast. See you in the next video. See you guys. Bye.